first two games, they were outscored 80-0. Went into Mendota, got their first touchdown of the season, and finished up 2-9. However, they had a couple of minor moments that showed the potential of what we've seen this season. Now, total opposite. Mendota started out, they've lost the first two games, and they weren't really that close. Maybe at half, but they ended up getting blown out by a very good Oris Timba team in Liberty and Madera Ranchos. Roosevelt, on the other hand, last year, after traveling to Chowchilla and getting beat 50-0 by the D4 champions, hosted the Redskins, fell down 7-0 early, and came back and I said Redskins, I think they're now the Tribe, aren't they?
Correct.
Yes, I apologize. Roosevelt ran them out of this same Sunnyside Stadium 2 weeks ago, 33-14, and the score wasn't as indicative as the way Roosevelt handled them. And then last week they went up to Dawson Palace, avenged the defeat they had last week by dominating the Broncos on their home field. Doesn't happen very often. The Rough Riders are riding high right now.
We're going to see contrasting styles in this one tonight. Roosevelt High, as the coach mentioned, a year ago, trouble scoring. Got shut out 4 times on the year. 2 other games only scored 1 touchdown. They come in their first 2 games have averaged 5 touchdowns a game. On the opposite side, a little bit of difficulty scoring for the visitors tonight, the Mendota High Aztecs, and they will grind it out. A couple of very good running backs from Mendota. Passing game not quite where the running game is, but I would imagine we're going to see that ball on the ground a lot tonight.
Well, Mendota, since Beto Mejia has been the coach, they have not won fewer than 9 games in the season. I think this is his 7th season at Mendota, and he wins with what he has. Last season they had almost a Eric Coryell attack, and before that they had a tough ground game, so they're going to utilize whatever it takes.
We're going to see Roosevelt, on the other hand, go to the air. They have thrown the ball, and they've thrown it deep. Not necessarily a dink and dunk team, but they like to air it out, and they've got an impressive transfer under center at quarterback.
That De La Rosa, who was at Hoover last year, 6'4", and he's still growing. He's got a laser of an arm. He's got good field generalship. I like the way he commands the game. He doesn't get intimidated, at least so far. And something else that I like about the Rough Riders is they have toughness that they hadn't had before, and you can see it about halfway through last season in a 1-point loss to Washington Union where they really competed. And it's good to see that, and we're going to see them playing hard. And what I thought was going to be the Rough Riders' weak point, what I saw in spring practices, was their lines. I thought they were going to be real weak on the lines. They haven't been so far.
Captains with the officials out there at midfield, as you see, and we are waiting the word on the toss of the coin and the decisions that those captains will make. And Fred, why don't you run down who we've got officiating tonight's game?
The referee, the man in the white hat, is Sergio Ramos. The umpire is Kevin Mitsuoka. Head linesman is Dwayne Patrick. The line judge is Ricky Lynch. The back judge is Ty Locke.
Well, the host Rough Riders have elected to receive, so they will be going from your left to right. Mendota will kick off, and they will defer and receive to begin the second half of play here at Sunnyside Stadium. Glad you're with us here on CMAC Sports. Dan Taylor and Fred Clark with you tonight for this one. Should be a very interesting game of 2 teams going in kind of different directions. And Fred, we're going to talk throughout the night about the improvement we have seen out of Roosevelt High and how Otnoff Harris has begun to put his stamp on this program. But when that young man came in a year ago, the former Bulldog, who had a little bit of NFL time, really said that this was important for him to be at Roosevelt for the long haul. He wanted to be the head coach here. As he said at the time, mid-July last year, when he received the opportunity to be the Riders head coach, he wanted to be here for 10 years. And that was music to the ears both of the school and Fresno Unified, because they had gone through 9 coaches in 18 years at Roosevelt.
And of those 9 coaches, you've had such a wide variety of coaching staffs and a few very successful ones. They just haven't lasted too long.
Well, all throughout the stadium, as you see, the players lining up. Fans will be asked momentarily to stand and remove their hats. And the terrific Rough Rider band from Roosevelt High School will be performing our national anthem as we pause for the anthem. We're glad you were with us here on CMAX Sports for tonight's high school football game. Roosevelt in the green and the Mendota High Aztecs, the visitors on the far side of the field, white jerseys and the black pants. And a team that has had tremendous success over the last 5-6 years under Beto Mejia, and he has built them into a Division IV powerhouse.
Dan, before Beto Mejia took over at Mendota, a 5-5 record was considered a very successful season. I think they had lost 18 straight games to Dos Palos, and Mejia won in his first game against Dos Palos. Very stirring win, and that was, that was the game that really turned that program around back in, I believe, 1910. They were down by 8 at the half, made a huge comeback, and ended up beating their just bully nemesis by 40 points. And that was the game that put them on the springboard, and they went undefeated that season.
Well, again, Mendota comes in a surprising 0-2 as they're trying to find themselves. A lot of young players, not to make excuses, as you had a good conversation with Beto before the game, but they got beat against a pretty good Oristimba team, 48-20 to begin the season, and in Liberty Minera Ranchos, 41-7 last week, trying to get that offense on track. And we will see momentarily how they will come out tonight as Roosevelt High set with twin backs to receive the kickoff. So we await the officials.
Dan, last night you and I were literally frying eggs up in this booth. Tonight, it's pleasant, have a little bit of a breeze going. Perfect night for football.
It's a terrific night for football. I'm glad you're with us in your living rooms, but you hope you will get out and catch some high school football throughout this season. Terrific talent, terrific teams in the Valley. Riders taking the kickoff right up the gut. Big gap to the 40, 45. Brought down at about the 47-yard line. So Roosevelt will begin possession 1st and 10, and they will mark it, it appears, at the 47-yard line of the Rough Riders.
Excellent run back, followed his blocks, big hole right up the middle. A little bit of arm tackling by Mendota that was, attempted arm tackling was not successful.
Bit of a challenge. The players on the near sideline, as you see, huddled up around their head coach, Atnoff Harris, in his second season. Tough time last year, a 2-9 year. This year, though, off to a 2-0 start, as they have attempted tonight to go 3-0. 4-0 in 99 was the last time they were off to an undefeated start to the season. Jordan De La Rosa looking up top, going deep right out of the gate. Pass bobbled and incomplete.
And in and out, and the defender, Rodriguez, had his hand in just a little bit. I think that was enough to just to disrupt the timing a little bit and kept him from bringing it down.
Well, everybody mentioned when we were talking to Roosevelt people about this game tonight, and they all said the same thing. They love to go deep, and we see it right out of the gate on the very first play from scrimmage. 2nd and 10, ball on the 47 for the Rough Riders. Give goes to Howard Maxwell III.
Dan, we saw Maxwell in action a few times last season and just scratched the potential of what he's capable of doing. And Roosevelt's offensive line did not look that strong, but Maxwell's been able to run between the tackles for the first 2 games this season reasonably well.
3rd down and 8 from the 49.
And at this level, nothing sets up that good passing game by having a tailback that can bust through the tackles.
Over the middle. Just led his receiver a tad, but we're going to get a penalty flag, and it looks like a pass interference call is coming.
It looked like the ball may have been tipped at the line, Dan. Do we have a replay on that?
Joshua Williams, the intended receiver. And as they march it off, you had pass interference called against Mendota. They march it off down to the Mendota 36-yard line. So a big boost for the Rough Riders. Looked like they were going to be in a fourth down situation, but instead new life. And it's 1st and 10 from the Mendota 37. De La Rosa to Maxwell. He is bottled up at the line of scrimmage. This is a good pursuit defense, Fred.
Initially, it looked like Mendota was going to, Maxwell was going to let the defensive line outrun them because they seem to be well past them. They're putting the pressure on at different angles, trying to hurry De La Rosa. Maxwell, if he would have been able just to get one more foot forward, he could have broken that for a big gain.
It was close, you're right. Man in motion, Esteban Carrillo. De La Rosa going to go up top, got a man open. No cow. Looks to be a gain of probably 2. Taking another look, he had his man wide open out in the flat, but wasn't able to really get the kind of gain he was hoping for. And that's going to bring up a 3rd down and 7 for Roosevelt. De La Rosa under pressure. Aztecs blitz.
They're going to call him for intentional grounding on that, I believe.
And I'm not so sure his right knee wasn't down before he threw the football.
No. Now this is a penalty on Mendota for... I didn't see Sergio Ramos call on that one. If they called a late hit, I would...
They did.
Now, I definitely disagree with that call. Wow.
Well, so the second time on this possession. Roosevelt gets a big break thanks to the yellow penalty flags, as that ball is marched down inside the 20-yard line and set between the 19 and the 20. Riders get their second first down on this drive thanks to a penalty.
And Coach Mejia is extremely displeased on the other sideline, and with some justification.
First and 10 from the 19-yard line. De La Rosa calling his signals. Give us to Maxwell. Cuts back.
Nice gain by Maxwell, Dan. Followed his blockers, found a little seam. Got about 5 yards on that.
Inside the 15-yard line. Ball spotted at the 14.
And one thing that Roosevelt can really exploit is Mendota plays so aggressive. They have a tendency to outrun plays, and they just charge. They don't often they don't react some way. It's just like all forward. Let's just be aggressive all the time.
2nd down, 6. De La Rosa, play action. Gets it off before being hit. Tipped, intercepted in the end zone by Jose Ochoa.
Yeah, when that ball was tipped, it looked like all kinds of things could have happened. It looked like initially maybe an interception, then possibly a touchdown. Then it turned out being the interception. Do we have that one on replay, I hope?
Boy, they really put the pressure on as they blitzed from the weak side, from the blind side, and really hurried De La Rosa, whose pass was tipped and intercepted in the end zone. Ball down to the 2-yard line, as you can see. Doesn't leave the Aztecs with much working room. Sal Aguilar, their big center, brings them up to the line of scrimmage. This is Isaiah Clark. They will run the football. They will pound it. This team has not been effective through the air just yet. And they like to go behind the big guy. Christian Martinez tops the scale at over 300 pounds on that left tackle spot.
Yeah, last season Mendota had the Cardenas cousins at quarterback and wide receiver, and that was bulk of their offense. Things have changed a little bit.
As the Roosevelt coaches looking on very sternly, hoping their defense can get a stop here. 2nd down and 6. Give goes to Eric Segura. Segura picks up maybe a yard at most. He's been their workhorse this year. He's carried the ball 45 times in their first 2 games for 195 yards. So you're going to hear his name called quite a lot tonight.
Segura's another one. He's not quite the explosive player his brother was, which harms him being called Segura, but he's a very above-average player, and he almost always falls forward. He seldom gets caught for a loss.
And boy, his brother was an outstanding talent. Big play for the Aztecs, 3rd down and 7, ball on their own 6-yard line. Clark going to throw from his end zone. Man open, ball falls incomplete. That was Matthew Tamayo, the intended receiver, as Mendota will now be forced to punt out of their end zone.
And the pass is pretty much thrown on the run. It didn't have a laser-like look to it.
Well, do you set up for a return, or do you send all 11?
Set up for the return. You're going to have great field position.
Absolutely right. Just like to find out what kind of a gambler you would have been as a special teams coach.
That was my forte. Oh, very poor punt.
Swings it over here to the near sideline, and it's going to bounce back and over the 30-yard line again. Rolls dead at the 34-yard line. So Roosevelt in great field position here to start their second drive of the night. Is Mendota forced to punt, and the Riders will take over at their 33-yard line.
Yeah, a 28-yard punt is not what you want to have happen when you're in the shadows of your own end zone. You mentioned, Dan, a moment ago about the stern-looking coaching staffs. Most coaching staffs are very stern-looking.
1st and 10, De La Rosa just beats the blitz, hits his man on the far side. Penalty flag is thrown, and I think we've got some extracurricular activity going on that they're trying to break up. We see a helmet that has been flung to the ground, and I think the officials are discussing what went on there.
Whenever a helmet comes off the field, the player has to come off for a moment. They're still discussing it. Unsportsmanlike conduct.
So we initially hit a block below the waist. Charge to Roosevelt and an unsportsmanlike conduct. And Roosevelt is going to be pushed back by this spot.
Wow, this is going to be a double penalty, Dan. Wow.
There you see the call on the lower left side of your screen. Roosevelt now faced with a 1st and 10 way back at their own 35-yard line.
Actually, we have about a 1st and
I was going to say
40.
Fred, this reminds me back when the great Jim Ryan in the late 60s was competing the miler at the University of Kansas. And somebody one day asked the Kansas football coach if he ever thought of trying to pull Ryan out onto the track team. And he said, yeah, when I have those 3rd down and a mile to go situations.
Oh, all right.
And this is exactly what Roosevelt had, and what a big gain they just pulled out. 20 yards, the pickup on the pass, 22 yards on the pass on a 1st and 32.
Now we're down to 2nd, and it looks like about 19. Who was the football coach at Kansas said?
That's a good question. I knew you were going to ask me that. I just threw a blank. And it was a legend.
I was going to say Dan Fambro, but I don't know if...
Don Fambro, I'm not 100% sure if it was. I don't think that was it at that time. 2nd down, 21 from the 43-yard line. De La Rosa under heavy pressure. Avoids the blitzer. Airs it out deep. Intercepted.
That was Segura. Well, De La Rosa did quite a job just pulling the ball down, leaving a Mendota attacker in the lurch and throwing the pass up. And he had his man wide open, but the ball hung up a little bit too long.
Indeed. He did a tremendous job avoiding the blitzer and then was able to set himself, get his feet planted, and make a terrific throw. The only trouble was he didn't get it deep enough. He had a receiver a couple of steps behind the defender, but couldn't quite hit him. And Mendota comes up with their second interception of the ball game, this one at the 5-yard line.
Well, they gained a few yards. I think the first one they were at the 2.
Actually, it's spotted at the 6-yard line. Give to the near side. KO. Pulled down. May have picked up 1. Actually, that looks like that's Enrique Arroyo, the ball carrier for the Aztecs.
And Dan, something that we hadn't seen in Roosevelt in quite a few years. They have a lot more speed on both sides of the ball than they had before. They have a pretty good group of toughness and speed, and they have a camaraderie that you hadn't seen in Roosevelt in quite a while.
Give off left tackle. Once again, that's Christian Muratalla. Crossing the 10-yard line to about the 13. He's going to be about 3 yards short of a first down.
Muratalla is generously listed at 160 pounds, and he's a lot bigger than he was last year, Dan. I think he played at 125 or 130 pounds last year. He is one tough kid, a lot of Muratallas, and he's the latest in the line.
3rd down and 2. Ball spotted at the 15-yard line for the Aztecs. Isaiah Clark with the pitch. Looks as though he crossed the line, got the necessary yardage, and the Aztecs have a first down. Their first of the ball game.
And getting a first down on a third and short yardage situation does a lot of confidence for your offensive line, knowing you can just push people back and get a few yards when you really need it.
A little bit of breathing room farthest away they have been from their own goal line tonight. Give goes once again to Christian Muratalla to the far side. Looks as though he may have picked up a couple of yards. And as we expected, the contrasting styles on offense, as we've seen Roosevelt going deep, and we are watching as Mendota continues to pound it out. As we'll get another look coming up here at that interception. As you saw, the Roosevelt receiver had a few steps on his man, but the ball was underthrown. Here we go, Muratalla once again. He's out close to another first down. Christian Muratalla came in this season with 17 carries in the first 2 Aztec games, 134 yards.
Tough young man.
They've scored as a team 3 touchdowns, and he has 2 of them. Ball at the Mendota 28-yard line.
A little bit of movement in the backfield.
Nothing like that to frustrate a coach just as your team is starting to get the tempo going and really get a flow going on offense. And to get set back that way is very frustrating.
Well, illegal procedure, offside, too much time. These are just absolute coach killers. Some of the other stuff that happens during the course of the game, these are things that are just mental lapses.
Absolute ulcer makers, no question. On the 23-yard line, 1st and 15. Pitch going back to Segura. Still on his feet, but swarmed under for a loss. It looks like of about 5 yards.
We may have had a face mask there, too. I saw a flag go down at a place that usually indicates holding, but I didn't see any blockers over there.
You are absolutely on the money, Fred. There's the call, but it is against Mendota.
Saw one of those calls in the game last night, Dan, where a face mask penalty was on the running back. And sometimes you go out, they get a straight arm, and they'll get it caught in the face mask just as a defender would.
Interesting. Wondered how that might happen. Interesting. Let's see if we can find it here as we'll, out in the truck, roll that last play once again. Hard to tell.
Yeah, don't have enough angles to.
1st and 23.
Make that decision.
From the Mendota 15-yard line. Rolling to the near side is Clark. He's got a man. Oh, there's a big-time face mask right there. As that was Christian Muratala with the catch and run down across the 20-yard line to about the 22, and there's some marching coming up.
Yeah, we generally don't see back-to-back face masks like that.
Against opposing teams either.
Yesterday, I was at a freshman game. We were talking about the misery plays, and I'm not going to embarrass the coach of the team by mentioning this, but they had in their first 3 offensive plays 2 illegal procedures and 1 delay a game. Next play, they broke off a 35-yard gain and got called back by holding. A very displeased coach.
I can imagine. Ball marched down to the 37-yard line. Going to make it a 1st and 2 for the Aztecs. This direction play right up the middle. This is Luis Martinez. Doubles as both a fullback and a middle linebacker for the Aztecs. Gets it across the 40-yard line for a Mendota first down.
I don't need to point out, if we have a young man that's a fullback and a linebacker, that's one tough young man.
Absolutely. So 1st and 10 now as the Aztecs have their best field position of the night. They're on their own 40-yard line. This is Muratala off the right tackle. Taking a couple of defenders with him. Picks up about 5. Brought down at the 45-yard line. Correction, Eric Segura on the carry. Glad you're with us. No score here. 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter of play from Sunnyside Stadium in southeast Fresno. Roosevelt High in the green, going from your left to right with the football now with a 2nd and 5 from the 45, the Mendota High School Aztecs. Aztecs playing for their first win of the young season. Roosevelt trying to remain undefeated for the first time in 17 years.
Boy, Muratala found the going tough there. Everything he tried, I mean, there was a green jersey right there. He kept trying to inch a little bit. There was going to be nothing.
That'll bring up 3rd and 5 for Mendota.
And you can see the Rough Riders right now. They're just in pretty much a 4-4, and they're going to be cheating and putting 7 or 8 men at the line of scrimmage most every play. I think they're convinced that Mendota's not going to be able to do much through the air.
Give goes again to Segura. Crosses the 48. He's within a yard, maybe a yard and a half of the first down marker. Clock counting down at 45 seconds to play here in the first quarter at Sunnyside Stadium.
There's not much doubt what you'd do here. If you're in the NFL, yeah, they're going to punt the ball away. But high school and a lot of colleges, hey, they're going to roll the dice right now.
And they're running the football very effectively. 4th and 1 from the 49-yard line. Isaiah Clark over center. He's going to keep it, and boy, is he going to pick up some yards. Isaiah Clark picks up 3, maybe 4 yards on the quarterback keeper. First down, 3rd consecutive first down here for the Mendota High School Aztecs.
And that caught the Rough Riders completely flat-footed. They were not expecting that play at all. I think they were figuring Segura.
Inside of 15 seconds, let's take a look at their play once again. That was very impressive. Clark really uncontested, bulls his way across the first down marker down to the 47-yard line, the Roosevelt 47-yard line, as the official waves his arms and waves an end to the first quarter of play here from Sunnyside Stadium. Roosevelt going for their third consecutive win to start the season, yet to score. Same with the Mendota Aztecs, who were looking for their first win of the young season. But Mendota running the ball very impressively this drive. They've had a couple of huge penalties that have thwarted opportunities, but now they seem to be going on a roll as they've crossed midfield. They're around their coach, Beto Mejia, along the far sideline. In fact, not just the offense, they called the entire team around as he's trying to get them going over there.
Well, it's a little bit of a surprise from what we thought at the start of the game. Roosevelt has not had any trouble at all putting points on the board right now. And I think they figured playing a team like Mendota that likes to ground and pound right now, that's not something they haven't. They're experienced with that so far this year. Chowchilla, that's all they do is ground and pound. And Roosevelt took a quarter to figure that one out, and they did what they did on the last couple of plays Mendota ran. They're cheating up to the line. They're trying to throw everybody up because they're obviously not afraid of a pass. And I think this is a good strategy that Marlon Jackson and the Roosevelt defense have right now. Make Mendota beat you through the air.
They have not thrown very effectively in their first two games. Aztecs now coming up to the line in the white and black, going from your left at home to your right. Roosevelt now on the defense as they've got 6 in the box. 1st and 10. Give goes to Segura. Across the 45. Legs still churning, takes it down to about the 41-yard line. Very impressive effort by Eric Segura.
In these last couple of plays, Dan, Mendota's went with a full house backfield, and they have plenty of beef back there to provide a little bit of blocking too. And it's like they're telling Roosevelt, okay, throw 8, 10, 11 at us, we're coming at you. We'll see how successful it'll be.
Thus far, the Riders have not been able to stop this running game. They've only stopped themselves on a couple of big penalties. The face mask. Muratala breaks a tackle. He's into the clear. Muratala inside the 20. Wrapped up at the 15. Pushed out of bounds. Eric Muratala, Christian Muratala, I should say, with a tremendous effort breaking that tackle and churning down inside the 15-yard line.
That was a nice run by this undersized but full of heart Muratala. Between he and Segura, neither one of them are particularly large young men, but they run with a lot of fire and passion.
Muratala's play now spotted at the 13-yard line. Isaiah Clark brings the Aztec offense up to the line of scrimmage. 1st and 10 at the 13-yard line. Early going second quarter, no score. Give goes to Segura. He is bottled up at about the 8-yard line.
Now that play didn't look like it had much going for it at all, Dad, when it first started, and he just kept churning his legs.
Taking a look here as he just keeps the legs churning. But actually, that was Eddie Rodriguez, normally a wide receiver, in on that play. Give up the middle to one of the big guys that they have running out of that full house backfield. That looks like Eric Hernandez, the fullback and linebacker, who takes it down inside the 5-yard line, spotted at the 4. Brings up 3rd down, maybe 2.
Yeah, this has been a good drive by the Aztecs right now, and it keeps Roosevelt's offense off the field and wears down the D.
Absolutely. Really wears down this defense. Isaiah Clark. Give goes up the middle to Hernandez once again.
He's short of the goal line, but he has first down yardage. Looks like close to the 1-yard line.
Indeed, Mendota High now with 1st and goal at the 1. And Beto Mejia, Fred, is going to take a timeout.
Notice when they come out, Mendota's really been getting low on their offensive line. They're getting low and they're getting push and they're getting those first 3 or 4 yards, and then that gives you running backs a heck of a lot of drive to keep it going. But if they can push them back, and they have really been effective, Dan. This really does surprise me what I've seen so far, and they've held the ball almost 7 minutes on this drive.
Well, also with that full house backfield, they're getting extra effort ahead of the ball carrier, and they've been going with a big guy on those short yardage power plays. Hernandez with the football, and very impressive effort. Now this was Eric Segura on that nice third down play, who really kept the legs churning and got it inside for them. And now both teams hustling back up to the line of scrimmage. 9:10 to play here in the first half. Both teams still looking for their first score. First down, goal to go. Mendota High from the Roosevelt 2-yard line. Did he get in? His teammates say yes. We look for the official's call. It is spotted at the goal line.
Can't get much closer than that.
Not at all. Clark hustles over toward the sideline to get the play call from his coach. Give goes to Christian Muratalla, who is in for the touchdown.
And nobody touched him. They were expecting it to come right up the middle, and he just broke off tackle. That drive went 94 yards, Dan, and I don't know how many plays. They must have ran 15, 16 plays on that drive.
Aided by some very big penalties, but a very impressive drive on the ground. Only threw the ball, only attempted to throw 2 passes during that drive. One, a big one on a third down.
Extra point is missed.
No good. So with 8 minutes and 26 seconds to play in the first half, Mendota strikes first. The Aztecs on the board and leading Roosevelt 6-0. And Fred, as you said earlier, that was simply a matter of, this is what we're going to do. This is what we do. Stop us.
Mm-hmm. When Roosevelt's defense comes off the field, I mean, already we're almost 4 minutes into the second quarter, and Roosevelt's offense hasn't been out there for quite a while.
Taking a look at that scoring play is Isaiah Clark just with the keeper, pushes it right up the middle. And he was stopped on the prior play from the 1. But then on the very next play, the give went to Christian Muratalla, who was pretty much unmolested off the left tackle and into the end zone as the shutout is ended. And the Mendota High Aztecs are on the board, leading 6-0. 8 minutes and 26 seconds to play here in the first half.
Now Roosevelt's defense is gathered around Marlon Jackson, the defensive coordinators. Are trying to figure out how they can stop Mendota the next time around, because they really got handled at the point of contact.
Line drive kick mishandled by an up man, but now he rights himself and off he goes to the far side. And he gets it over the 40-yard line to about the 43. The Roosevelt High will begin their third possession of the night in pretty good field position.
Yeah, Dan, Roosevelt hasn't had to start the any possession inside of their own 40. They started the game at the 48-yard line. Their
47,
second possession was inside the 30, I believe, and now their own 42. Great field position for the Rough Riders.
I'd say it's at the 42 3/4, but I know you're going to correct me.
I probably would have.
So from the pistol, Jordan De La Rosa, the young Roosevelt quarterback. Maxwell beside him, but they're going up top. And, boy, they are sending 4 blitzers. And We have got an offensive pass interference call, I've got to believe, right there.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Either that or we just walked into wrestling practice.
Yeah, that was a good chance that ball was going to be intercepted again.
Well, that's the other thing that we're seeing maybe a little unexpectedly is how effective the Mendota blitz is, because they are blitzing on almost every single down.
Okay, now we have an ineligible receiver downfield on the offense and holding on the offense. They'll be taking the holding penalty.
There you're looking at the kick return, and that was Esteban Carrillo of the Rough Riders who ran it all the way out to about the 42-yard line. So penalty being marched off. Ball's going to be spotted at the 33-yard line. And the Riders are going to have to get all the way back up to the Mendota 48-yard line.
That's their third major penalty.
De La Rosa's going to throw under pressure.
And De La Rosa's got some wheels on him.
Picked up about 12 on that play. And that's what's going to even things out a little bit. If he shows that he can flee the blitz and he can pick up some yardage with his legs, well, the Aztecs are going to have to respect that.
And I think Roosevelt also needs to not abandon the ground game too early.
Second down 11 from the 41-yard line for the Rough Riders. Four receivers in the set. Again, De La Rosa under pressure. Mendota is very effective with this blitz package.
And Mendota is rolling the dice, bringing as many as they do and hoping that they can get to De La Rosa and they won't get burned by single coverage.
So De La Rosa is going to have to move the pocket. He is just going to have to throw from a rollout, and I think he can be very effective doing that, but it's going to be something that's probably got to be first option given the defense that Mendota has elected to employ.
As Mendota does not match up athletically with their defensive backs and Roosevelt's wide receivers, and this is what they're rolling the dice on.
Very effective game planning for the Aztecs, so we're looking for their first win. Here we go, under pressure again, out of the backfield. Gerardo Cifuentes. Correction, I think that's Gerardo Huerta who made that catch.
That gives fourth and a long 2 yards to go for the Rough Riders, but hey,
and
got to go for it.
Want a timeout to talk this one over. Adnan Harris had the offense out of the field. Looks like he's going to keep the offense out on the field. They're going to talk over their strategy as we take another look at that last play. As they tried to go short, diffuse the blitz, and had a very effective, healthy pickup there.
Well, they're working on a few things to spread Mendota out a little bit or maybe try and hold the aggression down. And a few screen passes, maybe a couple of draw plays, some quarterback draws. You've got to be able to keep this defense honest.
Roosevelt facing a 4th and 2, ball at the 50.
Something across the way, Dan, that we seldom see with Mendota. You hardly ever will find a young man sitting on the bench. Almost everybody's upstanding the entire game.
So the Riders in the pistol formation on 4th and 2 from the 50-yard line. Four receiver set. Under pressure. He connects. Big gain. Big hit. As Austin Pham, the tight end, is ridden down at the 31-yard line.
And that was Muratalla by just a shoulder-to-shoulder tackle taking him down. He gave up a lot of size on that, plus momentum.
They went back to what worked a previous play, attempting a little misdirection. 3-man blitz.
A nice generalship by De La Rosa. He kept his cool. He knew the heat was coming. Flicked a little pass out.
Down to the 31-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Rough Riders. They have had drives take them down into scoring opportunities before, only to misfire and throw interceptions. The blitz once again, and this time it results in a big, big loss.
Yeah, it looked like De La Rosa was going to slip out of that for just a second, but the tackle was not going to be escaped.
An 8-yard loss on the play as Woodlake's defense came again in another blitz situation. Ball now at the 39-yard line. Riders have struggled once across midfield tonight, twice being intercepted down near the end zone. Blitzing once again. De La Rosa wrapped up. Another big loss. Back to the 47-yard line.
Roosevelt's offensive line is not getting the job done at this point, Dan.
They're bringing the pressure from the strong side, forcing De La Rosa to have to roll to his left and throw while running to his left, which is a very awkward, very difficult throw for a quarterback. Very difficult to have to throw across the body and throw with any accuracy.
Well spoken.
Mendota's confidence is brimming right now as they have pushed the Rough Riders way back. 3rd and 23. De La Rosa fires. Incomplete.
Good defense there by Segura.
That was Esteban Carrillo going up against the Mendota defender. Segura couldn't quite bring it down. 4th and 23 from the 45-yard line. Agnav Harris keeps his offense on the field. 5 minutes and 9 seconds to play in the first half. Mendota striking first. They lead 6-0. Roosevelt pushed back by 2 big penalties now with 4th and 23 at the 45. A quick kick by De La Rosa. Ball bounces at the 35, and that's where it's downed, or at the 25, I should say, and that is where Mendota will take over 1st and 10.
I like that. They did that against Chowchilla in the opening game. And De La Rosa, not an amazing punt, but
effective, though.
Yeah, effective.
An effective punt.
Now the Rough Riders, they started out on their own 42. They went about 10 yards. There's like 9 different plays in there at one time, wasn't there?
I think you're right. So Mendota once again taking over possession at their own 24-yard line. 1st and 10. You see the Roosevelt players getting an earful from their defensive coaches. Their offensive coaches, I should say, as Christian Muratalla takes to the far side and picks up about 6 yards. So the Aztecs continuing to just keep it on the ground as they continue to challenge the Rough Riders to stop their running game, something they have not been able to do thus far tonight. 2nd and 5.
Another quick hitter.
And a 1st down. Fred, in a situation like this, can you make adjustments now, or do you make adjustments at halftime? Is it a matter of loading the box or pulling people off the front and adding to the linebacking core that's secondary?
Well, it depends, Dan. It seems like every time that Roosevelt will adjust, Mendota will readjust one play later. And for a violent physical game, there's a lot of thought and chest moves
Tactics,
that go into
indeed.
a game like this.
Indeed. Murutala to the far side. Another pickup of about 5.
Because the Rough Riders, I've seen the defensive coaches down there trying to adjust, trying to say, okay, let's try this. They're not standing pat. They just haven't been successful so far.
3 minutes and 28 seconds to play in the first half here at Sunnyside Stadium. Beautiful night for high school football and breeze. It is cooled, and we're seeing some terrific football. The Mendota High Aztecs unleashing a vengeful running game on the Roosevelt High Rough Riders. Christian Murutala, far side, first down, Aztecs again.
Well, one of the main themes in the misery index that Mendota suffered for the first couple of games, unnecessary penalties and turnovers. And they haven't turned the ball over yet tonight. You know, they've had some hard hitting down there. We still haven't seen a fumble. I'm not trying to jinx anybody.
Yeah, I'm hoping the coaches in the booth next to us did not hear you.
Yeah.
Got to go to the air, only the 4th time tonight. Clark flushed from the pocket. Away he goes. He's got the side wide open, and there he goes. First down, and then some. Isaiah Clark down to the Roosevelt 31.
Nice run by Clark, too. It looked like he was going to be taken down for a loss, and then he had a good block by who's our big lineman there, number 77, Martinez, laid out a real decleater here. We'll see as he takes off. Watch this block. He comes back and nails his man. Off camera. Okay, we have a timeout on the field.
Timeout taken. 2 minutes and 24 seconds to go in the first half of play here from Sunnyside Stadium, where Mendota High sits on a 6-0 lead, and the Aztecs are marching with the ball 1st and 10 at the Roosevelt 32. And thus far, if you've just joined us, true to the way we were told this might play out, Roosevelt trying to lead with the pass. Mendota has just put them under immense pressure thus far, blitzing on every snap, keeping Jordan De La Rosa on the run and preventing them from getting their passing game going. While on the other hand, Mendota's offense, they have simply been running the football and running it right down Roosevelt's throat.
And only 2 minutes and 31 seconds left in this first half, and when the Aztecs have the ball, that clock is moving. What a difference from the game we had last week, where it was really warm, and at halftime, we're at 35-0 about this point.
Well, and the biggest activity in the half was by the officials. There were penalty flags flying left and right last week.
Yeah.
And thus far, we've seen very few in this game. It has been a well-played game and a coaching tactician's paradise as we've watched both of these teams make adjustment after adjustment. Give goes to Segura off the left tackle to the outside. Picks up about 5 yards before he's run out of bounds. Clock will continue. 2 minutes and 24 seconds left of the first half.
Okay, we'll see on this replay again. The Rough Riders were caught off guard initially. Good pursuit.
2nd down and 5 from the Roosevelt 27-yard line. Isaiah Clark with the pitch. Back to Murutala. Gains 2, maybe 3. No, still on his feet. Did he get across the first down marker?
He certainly did.
Wow.
That was a stud run, Dan. Let's see this again. I mean, he looked like he was caught for negative yardage. That may be a yard or two, and he's going to get first down yardage on this.
And you look at his coaches and teammates come out onto the field to congratulate him on that. 1:56 to play here in the first half. just puts his helmet down, knocks away one defender, continues to keep the legs churning with 3, 4, 5 men all around him, wrapping him up. He gets another first down.
And the Riders are gonna have to tackle better in this. They're going hitting at the shoulder pad and they're hitting, but they're not wrapping and rolling. They're not bringing them down.
1st and 10 Mendota from the Roosevelt 21-yard line with 1:56 to play in the first half. Aztecs sitting on top 6-0 and threatening to add more. This game began with a couple of impressive Roosevelt drives, only to have each one stopped by an interception. Jose Ochoa at the goal line for Mendota, and then came back with another interception by Segura of Mendota in the end zone. Got it out to the 5-yard line on a return, thwarting the two impressive Roosevelt early drives. Ever since that point, it has been all Mendota. They turned that ball up with a 94-yard drive to punch it over for the game's first touchdown. They sit on that 6-0 lead now with 1:56 to play, and they're heading to the line, hoping to add to that before going into the locker room for halftime.
Yeah, less than 2 minutes to go here in the half.
Muratala in motion. Clark with a big hole. Touchdown, Isaiah Clark from 21 yards out. And Mendota extends their lead to 12-0.
And Clark, after he broke the initial line of scrimmage, went across the grain, and there was nobody on Roosevelt to touch him. Let's see this again. Looked like he was going to go and pitch, and wow. Nice run by Isaiah Clark.
And I think that Christian Muratala set that play up, going in motion to the near side. Roosevelt pursued, looked at the play to go that way, and Clark was able to cut back against the grain and had smooth sailing all the way into the end zone. They're going to go for 2 here. And the give goes to Eric Segura, and he is going to be stopped short. So with 1:48 to play in the first half here from Sunnyside High Stadium, in a surprise, the visiting Mendota High Aztecs have jumped out on top. 2 touchdowns via the ground, and they sit on a 12-0 lead as once again you're looking at the extra point attempt that is stopped short. And the Riders will take possession here and probably go into a very quick and hasty 2-minute offense and try to fling it up the field to see if they can get on the scoreboard before halftime.
Well, Mendota usually does not pooch kick. Roosevelt has some explosive deep men. They've started off at the minimum of their own 42-yard line. If they can get good field position, they can still strike fast. They can score and be back in this game headed to the locker room.
With the arm of Jordan De La Rosa, anything can happen like a lightning strike. But thus far, the Mendota blitz has kept him from being able to get his legs set and being able to make effective throws. They are going to have to go to a short game via the air, and they're going to have to move the pocket to evade that blitz. They have been very effective, Mendota has, at coming from that strong side and forcing him to his left side. Line drive kick. Across the 20. And he's going to be stopped at about the 26-yard line.
When there's 1:55 left in the half, I don't think the Rough Riders have a good chance of getting the ball back this half. Well, next play they scored a touchdown. We have flags on the field.
Well, Mendota came out of that scrum with the football, trying to claim that they had picked up a loose ball. Penalty flags flew, and we're taking a look at the officials to see what that call might be. Officials are talking it over.
I think it's going to go against Mendota.
It's a personal foul against Roosevelt.
Well, once again, Dan, I'm incorrect. I thought that they were going to go after Mendota for still going after the ball after the whistle had blown.
I'm moving the binoculars a little closer to you there, Fred.
I think you need to put them over my face right now.
So another blow to the Rough Riders, who have had a couple of key interceptions. They've had a couple of key penalties, and another difficult penalty forces them back to the 14-yard line and really throws a bit of cold water on their hopes of trying to get a good drive in before the conclusion of the first half. 1:37 to play, 1st and 10 from the Roosevelt 14-yard line. Jordan De La Rosa. Got his man to the near side. That's Joshua Williams. Ridden out of bounds at the 34.
Well, Mendota looked like they were playing soft on that. I don't think right now they want to get away from what they were doing. So with a quick strike offense, the clock stops when you're out of bounds or with a first down. Plenty of time for Roosevelt.
Pass complete across the 45. Brought down at about the 47.
2 plays in 20 seconds are almost halfway there now.
1:20 left in the half. De La Rosa to the near side. Williams across the 40. Down to the 37.
Another first down will temporarily stop the clock as they move the chains.
Mendota has been very effective with the blitz thus far in the first half, and they have backed off the blitz and gone to somewhat of a prevent. Again to Williams.
Yeah, they call that an incomplete pass, I believe. Which actually served the Rough Riders well on that. It stops the clock.
1:01 to go.
They weren't going to get first down yardage on that.
Roosevelt. Otnoff Harris, the Riders head coach, talking about making the motion for a timeout, but then decides otherwise.
They only have one left in this half.
De La Rosa with Maxwell in the backfield. De La Rosa under pressure, and he is sacked at the 42.
Yeah, Mendota reverted back to what had been successful the earlier part of the game and bought 6 in.
You know, our good friend Stefan Page, the 9-year Kansas City Chief, always had a line. He never liked the prevent defense. He said the prevent defense prevents you from winning.
I agree with Stefan. But you know how conservative our NFL coaches are.
De La Rosa scrambling, looking, tucks it up, ducks out of bounds.
Heady play by De La Rosa.
26 seconds remaining in the half. Riders hoping to try and get on the board here before they go to the locker room.
As you alluded to earlier, Dan, Mendota's bringing everything and making De La Rosa go to his left.
I can't help but think about what we saw in the UCLA-Texas A&M game last Saturday, where Josh Rosen was throughout the first 3 quarters looking to throw deep and getting riddled repeatedly. And when they started going to a timing route sideline to sideline, they started churning up the yardage and made a dramatic comeback. We just had a motion penalty on the right tackle.
And that was amazing. You know, you're behind, 44-10 with 7 minutes left in the third quarter against a strong team from the SEC. How do you lose that game?
Exactly.
And when they scored the touchdown to get them within 13, went right through one of the A&M's defenders' hands.
Yep.
What a great night for football.
It really was. It really was.
And Georgia Tech and Tennessee,
what a tremendous game.
I love Georgia Tech's ground game.
I do too.
502 yards on the ground.
Does a great job coaching it.
Yes,
Fourth
he does.
and 14 from the 43-yard line with 25 seconds to play.
Riders having some communication problems. Just about took too much time on that.
But he was trying to get Maxwell over to that right side in blitz pickup. De La Rosa airs it out deep.
He's got a man.
Incomplete. 2 defenders, and one of them knocked it out of the hands of the Rough Riders receiver, Nail Kell. 14 seconds left. Let's take another look at that. Mendota prepares to send the offense out onto the field, but De La Rosa flushed from the pocket.
Good job of De La Rosa buying himself time to make this pass.
Receiver got a hand on it, but couldn't quite come down with it. So Mendota takes over on downs with 14 seconds left, and now they're going to run over and have a quick conference with their coaching staff on the far sideline.
No, you have a 12-point lead, 14 seconds left. You get the ball the second half. I had run one play and head to the locker room.
Yeah, there's situations like that make you think of some of the old-time coaches. Their philosophy of the forward pass used to be 3 things can happen and 2 of them are bad.
Mm-hmm.
And why switch now when you're running the ball as effectively as Mendota High has throughout this first half of play?
Was that Woody Hayes that said that?
I think you can probably pin it on a lot of guys.
Yeah.
I know it was not Sid Gilman or Don Coryell.
No, it was not. When Woody Hayes comes to mind, he was a successful coach, and a lot of the men that played for him swear by him now, but I thought the guy was just a total a-hole. He could not even win graciously. See, I didn't curse.
Well, Mendota coming up to the line of scrimmage here as they get prepared with 14 seconds left in the half. 1st and 10 for the Aztecs, who have been running the football with Woody Hayes-like effectiveness here through the first 2 quarters of play.
Dan, I don't know who's going to be doing the color commentating the second half of the game, but I wish you luck working with him.
Isaiah Clark takes the knee, and they will let the clock tick down. As Mendota High going to the locker room, sitting on a 2-touchdown advantage, 12-0. And wow, they have really been impressive in this first half with this ground game.
Well, Dan, the Rough Riders are headed into the locker room, and they have a lot of work to do, because everything that they tried to adjust with, Mendota countered it.
Well, and that's the question. What adjustments can you make in the half? Because you tried repeatedly on the sideline throughout the first half of play, and Mendota successfully adjusted to your adjustments.
And right away, even with that last play, De La Rosa, he had to go to his right, to his left, and throw on the run. He was able to do a good job with it, but you're not going to win games when you're out of your element like that. And this is what's happened with them all night.
Roosevelt, a prolific offense. We have not seen it yet, but there's 2 quarters of football left to play, and no doubt they're going to be exciting quarters of football, so please stay with us for more high school football here from CMAC Sports. Our score at halftime, the Mendota High Aztecs sitting on top, leading the Roosevelt High Rough Riders.
Imagine last week. Did you have to go out
CMAC empowers the members of the community to tell their story by offering them the opportunity to learn how to use video equipment, how to use the facilities we have to offer. CMAC is an organization that is devoted to allowing people to tell their stories. 99% of those organizations and individuals that have stories to tell have never been able to do it because they couldn't afford to. Now they can. CMAC empowers members of the community by offering them the opportunity to learn how to use all the wonderful equipment that we have available for them. And then once they've learned, using that equipment to create their own content.
The great thing about once someone has filmed and edited their video is that it is aired via Comcast and other channels, and this gives Arte Americas the opportunity to connect with outlying communities, people who may not have a chance to discover us any other way.
To see something that you've actually produced on a channel is fun for the first time, especially if you spent a lot of time with it. And it does take time to learn the programs.
Because you hear it all the time as a producer, we can help get you out there. But this is the real deal. There is no gimmicks. There are no type of games that they play. You produce the content, you follow the guidelines, it will air to the community and be an inspiration to the community.
CMAC is here to provide that venue. And it provides that venue to every aspect of the community, every part of the community. No one else does it that way. No one else offers that. The importance of CMAC's members cannot be overstated. CMAC is its members. We've trained hundreds of people, and we've already seen hundreds of stories, and the results of those stories are being felt in numerous ways.
I got involved with CMAC because a friend of mine already belonged, and we volunteered to film a fashion show. And because there were good classes for CMAC, they ran us all through all the instruments and equipment that we were going to be using. I felt good about the experience, and I felt really confident. And actually, it was really a lot of fun, too.
And the training is simple. You know, when I did it, I think I took 7 classes. And at the end of 7 classes, I got a certificate, and I started recording things. Anytime I've had questions, the staff here has been great. And they've given me the opportunity to try different things with whatever content I'm producing.
When I got around other members, seeing that they had different visions than I had, but that we could all partner together, it was just like a giant gumbo or a giant buffet of different ideas, different creators, but all with one purpose: to create quality content.
You can't do it all. You can't be the man in front and behind the camera for every production. CMAC needs volunteers because it's a community-based organization, and the more volunteers you have, the higher quality of production you can achieve in your program.
People can contribute to CMAC by just participating and coming up with your own clever ideas and coming to the functions, coming to the events.
I feel great about being able to send volunteers and people who are just connected with Arte Americas over to CMAC so they can develop their own art form. I think it'd be hard-pressed to find another organization providing this level of resources here to the Valley to anybody who is interested, motivated, and wants to sign up. It's incredible. We love having them across the street, and they really are adding to what the Central Valley is providing.
CMAC is an outlet for anyone who wants to get their message or their skills or their artwork or whatever it is out into the community. It's a professional atmosphere where you can get the help that you need to be able to produce your program, and as a result, Fresno gets so much more to see and find out about.
I mean, when I see the smiles when people come through on orientation, or when they're hanging out in class, or seeing their projects being on the big screen in the lobby or on TV, that's magic. I mean, it's one thing to hope to do something, but it's another thing to help people fulfill and be that servant in the community. And that's what CMAC is. CMAC serves to help fulfill people's dreams.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Everywhere that we go, he makes people laugh and makes people smile, and I feel like I have that quality.
He's the one who always takes me fishing.
I watch golf with him. And
I watch him cook, because when I grow up, I want to be a cook too.
We have the same faces like this.
Dad is the one, when you fall, that picks you up.
That unconditional sense of presence and reassurance is really what makes him my father.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Please have a seat. I'll be honest. Your resume, no one I'm used to.
I know.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need a hard worker.
Good. I've got 2 part-time jobs and to help my parents pay the bills.
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find, cultivate, and train a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Cinderella found the pet that fits her perfectly. Tiana gave her pet the royal treatment. Belle found beauty where no one else did. And you can too. Share your heart. Share your love. Bring home your forever friend. Make a shelter pet part of your world. Happily Ever After begins at theshelterpetproject.org.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that! That's disgusting! Oh, poop already! You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
CMAC empowers the members of the community to tell their story by offering them the opportunity to learn how to use video equipment, how to use the facilities we have to offer. CMAC is an organization that is devoted to allowing people to tell their stories. 99% of those organizations and individuals that have stories to tell have never been able to do it because they couldn't afford to. Now they can. CMAC empowers members of the community by offering them the opportunity to learn how to use all the wonderful equipment that we have available for them. And then once they've learned, using that equipment to create their own content.
The great thing about once someone has filmed and edited their video is that it is aired via Comcast and other channels, and this gives Arte Americas the opportunity to connect with outlying communities, people who may not have a chance to discover us any other way.
To see something that you've actually produced on a channel is fun for the first time, especially if you've spent a lot of time with it. And it does take time to learn the programs.
Because you hear it all the time as a producer, we can help get you out there. But this is the real deal. There is no gimmicks. There are no type of games that they play. You produce the content, you follow the guidelines, it will air to the community and be an inspiration to the community.
CMAC is here to provide that venue. And it provides that venue to every aspect of the community, every part of the community. No one else does it that way. No one else offers that. The importance of CMAC's members cannot be overstated. CMAC is its members. We've trained hundreds of people, and we've already seen hundreds of stories, and the results of those stories are being felt in numerous ways.
I got involved with CMAC because a friend of mine already belonged, and we volunteered to film a fashion show. And because there were good classes for CMAC, they ran us all through all the instruments and equipment that we were going to be using. I felt good about the experience, and I felt really confident, and actually it was really a lot of fun too.
And the training is simple. You know, when I did it, I think I took 7 classes, and at the end of 7 classes, I got a certificate.
Welcome back to Sunnyside Stadium. I'm Dan Taylor, along with the coach Fred Clark, visiting Mendota High. Game, looking for their first 3-0 start in 17 years. Conversely, Mendota, the team that only lost twice all of last year, had lost twice coming into this game. But boy, it's been a completely reversed tale thus far with Mendota and an impressive running game, running up that 12-0 first half lead.
Oh, no doubt, Dan. And we've seen Mendota looks like a well-oiled, organized, disciplined machine, and Roosevelt looks a little bit out of whack. But as you alluded to in the first half, we've seen some games that have completely changed around, particularly that UCLA game where they were 34 points behind with 7 minutes left to go in the third quarter. Roosevelt has a quick strike offense. They get a stop on Mendota early, get the ball back, get points on the board. The complexion of the game can change immediately.
Confident bunch as you see over on the Mendota sideline, and Fred mentions Roosevelt being out of sync in the first half, and that a lot of that had to do with a came from the weak side, pressuring Jordan De La Rosa to have to run repeatedly. And let's take a look at some of the action from the first half as Roosevelt came out impressive on a couple of drives early, only to see them thwarted by interceptions as Jordan De La Rosa showing off a big arm. Two teams will be coming out onto the field soon, with Mendota receiving to start the second half of play. But Mendota with an interception there as Jose Ochoa came away with that football in the early going. Roosevelt, a couple of good long drives, put themselves in good field position. On the other hand, Mendota, their running game, once it got going, it was very tough to stop. That big face mask penalty right there was a huge play and gave Mendota big yardage and continued a drive that looked like it was going to stall. But the two running backs, Eric Segura right there, number 7, and then number 6, Christian Muratalla, very challenging to bring down. Muratalla with a long gainer right there. It got down to almost the 10-yard line on the scoring drive. And Muratalla would ultimately go in for the second touchdown of the night. But with the blitz, they have kept Jordan De La Rosa on the run. This one long gainer was very impressive. Yet another one late in the half. Had to go to a short passing game to try to ground out some yardage. But for the most part, Mendota kept him on the run.
Well, what Roosevelt needs to do is they're going to have to spread things out a little bit, open the game up a little bit, as we talked about in the first half. Go with a couple of quick screen passes, maybe a few quarterback draws, some draw plays. And Mendota is so aggressive on defense. You've got to do a few things to slow them down a little bit and make them react, because Roosevelt has the athletes. They've got, when you look at just athletic ability, there's really not much doubt that Roosevelt is the more talented team on the field. Mendota, because of the iron-like discipline that team's had over the years, they always think that they're going to find a way to get it done.
There you saw Isaiah Clark run in the second touchdown of the game. And the Aztecs attempted to go for two to push it up to 14-0, but were unable to convert the two-point conversion. And now they're out on the field, and Mendota will be receiving the kickoff here to start play in the second half from Sunnyside Stadium. 12-0 score here at the intermission. Glad you're with us here on CMAC, the Community Media Access Coalition. Every collaboration, I should say, everybody involved doing tremendous work, from the big guy Jerry Lee, Don Priest, Cesar Perez out there in the truck, and all the folks involved in tonight's production, cameras, replay, you name it, doing a tremendous job. Thanks for all you guys do, and thanks to you at home for being with us for this one. This is Muratalla. Across the 30, brought down at the 33. Not a bad place to start your drive from.
Again, the initial tackler tried to stop Muratalla with a one-arm shoulder tackle.
Well, nothing's going to get you angrier than one-arm tackling. To set the backfield for the Aztecs, number 4, Isaiah Clark, your quarterback, and it'll be a rarity. He's up under center, running that option. Christian Muratalla, Eric Segura in the backfield behind him. And occasionally, like right there, they'll go in with a big fullback, Eric Hernandez, and he pulls his way forward for a couple of yards. There's some size on that Mendota line as well.
And they're still getting push. On that, I thought they would get about 2 yards the way that play started out. And they just keep pushing and pushing, and Roosevelt's going to have to toughen things up on this line a little bit.
2nd down and 6 from the 37. Muratalla in motion. Oh my, spinning free Eric Segura. Penalty flag flies. Segura may have gotten back to the line of scrimmage, not sure.
It's thrown where there's usually a hold, and the Aztecs seem to be walking backward.
This was Eric Segura. Darted and danced his way.
Oh, wow. It's a face mask on the Rough Riders.
Another one.
Yeah.
Second one of the night, and second time their defense seemed to have a pretty good stand going, only to have it thwarted by a huge face mask penalty.
Yeah, Segura's head just went in the opposite direction. He was stopped for a loss anyway.
2nd down and 3 from the 42. There's a Segura up the middle, 1st down, picks up 5.
And Mendota's offensive line, they're getting down so low.
That leverage.
Yeah, they're just, Roosevelt cannot do anything with that at this point. They have a big man playing on the nose, but he's not getting any leverage at all. He got stood up again.
Oh, Segura hit, but bounces off, picks up maybe 2. And clearly Roosevelt has abandoned trying to stop the pass. Their DBs have crept way up. Everybody within a 5-yard box.
That's exactly what they should be doing.
Second down and 9. Muratalla burst up the middle. Maybe a yard shy of the 1st down.
Right now, the Rough Riders just look out of sync on defense, too, Dan. They just don't seem to have a lot of fire right now.
3rd down and a yard for Mendota. Well, this is taxing. That defense has been on the field a lot tonight. That 94-yard drive covered about 4 hours earlier tonight. Penalty flags, possibly man in motion. A little bit of extracurricular activity going. Some shoving, some talking.
During a football game, imagine that.
And Mendota's going to be marched backwards 5 yards. They'll spot the ball at the Roosevelt 49.
You know, if the Riders can keep him from getting a short yardage situation now, if they could get the ball back, that could be the spark that they need.
Absolutely. Isaiah Clark brings the Aztecs to the line of scrimmage, 3rd and 6 at the 49-yard line. Big yardage situations have meant nothing for the Aztecs.
Fumble.
Ball's on the ground. Fumble. First one tonight. Clark gathers it back up. Tries to get back to the line of scrimmage. Is unable to. And Mendota's going to have to punt the football away.
I believe for only second time in this game, the Aztecs have had to punt.
Fumbled the exchange, but Clark was able to gather it up, and that saved what could have been a big, big disaster. Mendota punting for the first time tonight.
Second time. The first one went, 26 yards?
You're right. Shanked it to the near side at that time. This one bounding at about the 23-yard line and out of bounds. Darian Duarte, the punter for Mendota.
Even at that, the Aztecs took almost 3.5 minutes off the clock.
Well, again, that fumbled snap, really a costly miscue, and that was only the first time tonight we have seen the ball on the ground. As Mendota throughout this one has, with their option offense, has been very effective in their handling of the football.
Yeah, Clark almost committed a no-no trying to pick the ball up and run with it like that.
De La Rosa, quick out.
He's got some yardage.
Teo to the 33. Penalty flag. Are we looking at a late hit?
That would appear.
My question is, was it?
I'd have to go back to the replay on that.
We're going to get a replay.
All right, let's check this out. Well, if it's a late hit, camera's off the quarterback. Well, it's going against the Rough Riders. That was a nice play. They got positive yards on that. De La Rosa wasn't in any big rush, and now they take it back 10.
Very costly, and Roosevelt's offense has been hurt tonight by 4 very costly penalties. The face masks, an unsportsmanlike. Now this, Adolf Harris having a few words with the official, the back judge there, who made the call. De La Rosa
had time.
Going deep.
He's got his man.
Overthrew his receiver. And Kano out there. And he let him a little too far.
That was one of the few times De La Rosa's really had the time.
That was a rarity because with their blitzing defense, Mendota has kept him on the run through much of this one. But he was able to set his feet on that one and get off a nice throw.
Just a little overthrow. Dan, I saw you get up for a minute. I think you were reacting to all of the students yelling Dan Taylor down there.
I just wanted to let the club know the president of the Woody Hayes fan club is up here to my right.
Still employed.
De La Rosa, the quickie. Got a block. Across the 25, brought down at about the 27-yard line.
Nice gain. He let a few, let his blockers get up, make a couple of holes, and got almost 10 yards on that.
And that's the type of play the Riders are going to have to go to and have success with. Jordan De La Rosa back to the huddle after getting the play from his head coach Adolf Harris, the former Fresno State receiver. Spent a couple of seasons in the NFL with the expansion Houston Texans and then the Denver Broncos. 3 seasons in the Arena Football League as well. Incomplete through the hands of Neokeo. And that's going to bring up a 4th and 6.
It looked like Keo was planning on running before he actually secured the ball. The pass was a little bit high, but looked catchable, and looks like the Rough Riders are going to have to give the ball. Well, De La Rosa's still in, but we might be looking at another one of the quick kicks.
4th and 6, so if he draws them, it just only gets him to 4th and 1.
Shit, yeah.
It's the Rough Rider player's foot at the 38-yard line, and that's where Mendota will start their next drive.
Yeah, that's the second time that's got us thinking a little bit about us there. They going for it at 4th and 7. Well, when you have a punting quarterback, it gives you another dimension.
7:31 to play in the third quarter. Mendota on top 12-0 over Roosevelt. Rough Riders trying to keep their perfect start going. Out for their third consecutive win. The most to start a season since 1999. Mendota, on the other hand, trying to turn things around. A couple of tough losses, losing their opener to Oristimba and then to Liberty last week.
Now, that was one of the few times tonight we've seen Roosevelt overwhelm the left side of Mendota's line.
Able to swarm and make that stop. That will bring up 2nd and 11 from the 38-yard line. Isaiah Clark at quarterback. And he loses the handle on the football once again. And he's going to take about a 6-yard loss.
And when they're breaking down film in this game, they're going to have to remind Clark, hey, when you have the ball like that, but just fall on the ball. Unless it's 4th down and the clock's winding down, you're usually not going to make a play in that circumstance. Usually makes the situation a lot worse.
After being very sure-handed through the entire first half, suddenly in the last 2 possessions, Isaiah Clark has lost the handle on the football twice.
Yeah, there it is again, and he was able to, he kicked it a couple of yards away, too. That could have been a big break for Roosevelt.
He was fortunate that he had time and had clear space on the pitch. Give goes to Elijah Torres. Pushed out of bounds at the 43.
And for just the second time tonight, the Aztecs have went 3 and out.
Very surprising considering how successful they had been through the first 2 quarters of play. 5:42 on the clock and counting. 12-0 Mendota.
Well, Mendota has not looked as intense the first 6.5 minutes this half as they did the entire first half.
Darian Duarte gets off the punt. It's going to bounce at the 30. It'll take an Aztec bounce and be down at the 26-yard line. So that's where the Riders will begin their next possession from, as they try to get their offense in sync and erase a 12-point deficit. There you see the pitch, but not able to get enough for the first down.
Ooh.
Could that have been a horse collar tackle?
That was real close and right in front of the official.
I was going to say, right there.
I'd say Ricky Lynch, he thought about it.
1st and 10 Rough Riders from the 26-yard line. Jordan De La Rosa. Oh, they had that play covered, and now he's scrambling. And he was not outside the tackle box, but his receiver.
That's going to be intercepted by Mendota.
It is intercepted. Christian Maritella comes down with it. And oh, do we ever have to see that again?
Now, in retrospect, he never should have thrown the ball away, but it looked like they may have made something happen very briefly.
Well, this is a high school quarterback mistake where he doesn't want to eat it, and he just thinks he can throw it away and get rid of it for the interception and not lose any yardage, but instead he lost possession. And Mendota takes over at the 24-yard line.
And what concentration by Maritala.
Oh.
Coming up with the ball and not dropping it. I mean, he just looked that thing in, secured it. Big break for the Aztecs, disaster for the Rough Riders.
Isaiah Clark brings the Aztecs to the line of scrimmage. Behind him, he's got Hernandez, and the pitch is going to go to Segura. Looking for some room.
Flags
smothered for a loss and a penalty flag.
I would say that's where the hold would have been, but I think I've been right 1 out of 5 times tonight, Dan.
Officials talking it over, and we await the call.
Okay, 2 out of 6.
There you go.
Okay.
Your batting average is coming up, Fred.
Take him back.
4:56 left in the third quarter. 12-0 Mendota.
I pointed out that Segura rarely gets caught behind the line of scrimmage. That was the 3rd time tonight.
Ball now at the 38-yard line. Brings up a 1st and 22, I believe. Delayed handoff. Muratella. He picked up about 4.
And the Rough Riders were waiting on that. They had good containment.
And you ask, Roosevelt's loading it up. Why doesn't Mendota go to the air? Well, they're just not very effective in the air. They've only completed 9 balls coming into this game in their first 2 contests this season.
And we've seen, 2 passes tonight.
I think he's 1 for 2. Second down, 20. Muratalla just trying to follow his blocking. It does not get set up. He is brought down after about a gain of a yard.
And Roosevelt doing exactly what we're aware of, knowing Mendota's not passing. They're bringing everybody up.
It's been a chess match. Each coach coming out with a strategy, adjusting to the other's adjustments. Looks as though now Roosevelt has come up with a defensive strategy that is going to work. Of course, Mendota's hurt themselves with the 2 fumbles. Something that did not happen at all in the first half. And they've had a little bit of difficulty handling the football to come out here in the second half. 3:11 to go, 3:10 I should say, here in the third quarter. 12-0 Mendota. Aztecs with the football. Clark rolling, under a rush, brought down. 10-yard loss.
And everyone was covered. A good job by Roosevelt.
That'll bring up 4th and 21, and the Aztecs, for the 3rd consecutive time here in the third quarter, have to punt it away.
I'd have to say I was a little surprised at that. Conventional wisdom would say somebody would be open, but obviously Roosevelt was playing for the pass that one time. And I think it would have kept that on the ground. They may have had a chance to break something.
They're coming. They're bringing the blitzers. And they disguised cover very, very well, because everybody that was coming quickly dropped right back into coverage. Ball rolls out of bounds. It'll be spotted at the 11-yard line, where the Riders will begin this next drive, trailing 12-0. Otnoff Harris brings his offense around him at the 30-yard line, the near sideline, trying to get the offense back on track. They've come out with an idea of a short passing game, something we had talked about coming out of the halftime break, and something that has been effective when the Riders are accurate.
Well, when Roosevelt came off the field after throwing that interception a few plays ago, there was a lot of frustration there. And now and we've said this each of their last few possessions, they need to make something happen. One thing their advantage, as long as they keep it within 2 scores, they're still in the game. They've been outplayed, they haven't done much, but they're still in the game.
De La Rosa loses the handle, back at the goal line. He's under pressure, tripped up, and down he goes at the 3. An 8-yard loss for Jordan De La Rosa. He mishandled that snap.
Real danger of a safety, Dan.
He was in dangerous territory, you bet, as we take another look here at that muffed snap from center. And he's running along the goal line, tripped up, and comes down at the 3.
Boy,
Second down and 17 for the Rough Riders.
Tough position to be in.
Do you blitz or do you cover?
Blitz.
Give to Maxwell, dancing around the 3-yard line, brought down. No gain.
Well, Mendota came up with a football. They said Maxwell's knee was down. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll have a replay on that. Maxwell did a good job getting out of the end zone on that.
There was, as some coaches like to say, a sense of urgency on that play, as that blitz had him behind the line of scrimmage, behind the goal line, and he had to do some scrambling to pick up any positive yardage. 55 seconds and counting here as we wind down the third quarter. Roosevelt, 3rd and 17. De La Rosa in his end zone, gives to Maxwell, bottled up at the 2.
And I don't have a real problem with that call, Dad. I know you're thinking, hey, 3rd and 17, how come you're running the ball? You don't want to make the situation worse than it is. Their defense right now has slowed the Aztecs down. Get rid of the ball. Maybe your defense can get you back the ball in decent field position.
4th and 17. De La Rosa in the end zone. Likely quick punting, and he does. And it is a short punt, almost straight up. It's going to come down to the 20. It'll take a Roosevelt bounce, but it's going to drop dead and be whistled dead at the 18, where where Mendota will begin its latest drive. 3 seconds to play. 12-0 Mendota here in the third quarter.
You have Leo Robinson on your mind, don't you?
Or Ron Robinson, one of the two.
Yeah.
What a great coach he was. What a tremendous program he built out there at Woodlake High School.
41 years. Is that how long he coached?
I think you're right. Of course, one of his all-time greats, his son Ron, tremendous quarterback, had committed to Fresno State. That would have been an interesting quarterback battle with Kevin Sweeney.
Yeah.
And Ron, of course, a first-round draft pick of the Cincinnati Reds, and had a tremendous career pitching in the major leagues for the Reds.
Was that an athlete or what?
Tremendous. Great guy, too. That's the end of the third quarter of play, as Mendota sits on a 12-0 lead over the Roosevelt High Rough Riders. The two teams go to their respective sidelines to talk to their head coaches, and we're going to switch ends here, going into the final 12 minutes of football.
Here's that last play.
Glad you're with us here on CMAC Community Media Access Collaborative. And as you saw at halftime, CMAC offers training and opportunities, and training from some tremendously talented people and some great people. CMAC's located in the Met Building downtown, and they provide programming to Comcast and to ATT-Uverse, so be sure to check out our website at cmac.tv, where you'll find info on classes and various events. And you know, Fred, one of these times we got to get the big guy, Jerry Lee, down here with us in the booth some night. What a great guy Jerry is. I first met him when he came out west in the late 70s. He was actually working on CanVR in San Francisco calling World Team Tennis. I'd love to hear some of those tapes again, because Jerry was really good at it and then came to Fresno. But he came out west from Nebraska, where he had called Nebraska football.
Wow. From Nebraska football to World Team Tennis to community access. Wow.
He's had a great career.
Quite a resume.
Mendota now at the 8-yard line, 1st and goal. This is Clark with the keeper. He's got a penalty flag.
Looks like we may have another hold on the Aztecs.
Managed to get about 4 yards on that carry. Got an illegal chop block there.
You want it right,
block below the knees.
That'll be 15. Second one of those we've seen tonight.
Very ill timed, though, at this point. On a 1st and goal from the 8. Losing 15 more yards, taking you back to the 22-yard line. 23-yard line, not something you want to see happen if you're a head coach.
And Mendota's in a position now they could pretty much slam the door on this, but The last time they got down, they didn't do much, and same thing here. They've had good field position this second half.
Handoff going to Barajas.
Again, he's caught for a loss, about 4-yard loss.
Are they actually attacking, or are they making the clock their 12th man?
Well, if the score ends up 12-0 at the end of the game, they're making the clock the 12th man.
Way to go out on a limb there, Fred.
Yes. For the most part, I don't see them playing with the intensity on the lines like they did the first half.
Agreed. 11:14 to go here in the fourth quarter. Final quarter of football. Isaiah Clark now from the shotgun, which he has not done much in this game. Little screen, trying to see if they can get it set up. Nothing doing, though. Eric Segura may have gotten a yard at most.
Yeah, you mentioned Sid Gilman and Don Coryell. That's about as much as you're going to get tonight, like that out of Mendota's 2-yard pass.
Yeah, not going to be confused with the Coryell Aztecs. But make no mistake, this is a very potent band of Aztecs from Mendota High School. Tremendous running attack. Beto Mejias' team, extremely well coached. They've done a nice job here tonight. Trying for their first win of the season, a disappointing start. Here goes Clark trying to get the screen set up, but Roosevelt has it snuffed out, and Eric Segura is tackled for a loss of about 6.
That was Derek Schoen that came back, and he was with Segura the whole way, and not often is Segura going to get caught by a defensive lineman.
I wouldn't think Mendota's playbook has a whole lot in the passing section.
No, it'd be about like this little sheet that we have with the officials' names on it. Now, if I'm Mendota right now, I'm going to kick the ball away. I'm going to try and get it inside the 10-yard line.
It's 4th and 31. It's 4th and goal from the 31.
Yeah.
Nope, Clark's going to throw. And he throws it to nobody.
Now we have a flag on the field, and I have no clue what this is.
Well, if Clark was down, he must have been hit after the throw.
Well, yeah, another one in the backfield, and we have one here about the 12-yard line.
We've got a holding
on Mendota.
Pass interference on Roosevelt.
How could you call pass interference on that? I mean, I can see defensive holding, but...
And maybe that's what it is. Well, they get another chance at 4th and goal from the 31.
I don't know about this one. You don't want to give Roosevelt the ball back at relatively decent field position. But it's one of those things. Who punts from the 31-yard line?
Right. Clark from the pistol. Incomplete. So the Rough Riders will take over at their own 31-yard line, trailing 12-0 with 9:22 left in the game. Time is beginning to become an enemy.
The Rough Riders definitely need to strike quickly. Well, they can even, really, Dan, with 9.5 minutes left, if they take, 3 minutes to get down and get on the scoreboard and stop Mendota, they have plenty of time to do it.
Well, with their passing game, with the strength of Jordan De La Rosa's arm, they can strike in an instant. They've had a little bit of difficulty trying to get that deep passing game going tonight. The accuracy has not been there. And that has also been made difficult by the Mendota blitzing defense. We haven't seen as much of it in the second half as we did in the first half, but that may be about to change.
Well, Mendota's taking a timeout now to talk about it.
Rough Riders gathered around their coach, as you can see here. Adolf Harris has really done a nice job with the Riders. 2-9 his first year last season as the head coach. Took over July 13th, just a couple of, maybe 2-3 weeks before the start of preseason workouts with a staff he inherited. The previous head coach had left unexpectedly to go to the Bay Area where his son was playing college football. And Atnoff came in, told him he was in it for the long haul. This was not going to be another couple of years and out as they had been used to. He was the 9th coach hired in 18 years and says he's going to be here for 10 years, if not more.
I applaud that.
De La Rosa going deep. Overthrows his receiver, Esteban Carrillo.
Was there a flag called on that?
I don't see a penalty flag, but I think there was a little bit of extracurricular activity in the interior lines, and the officials were trying to get it stopped. We do have a pass interference called on Woodlake. I'm sorry, on Mendota. Why do I keep doing that? Obviously not a geography major.
That's okay. Well, that was questionable. That was right in front of us, and you saw a little bit of very minor contact. But a break for the Rough Riders nonetheless.
Big break for the Rough Riders. They've had some bad breaks because of penalties, and here their drive gets extended because of a Mendota penalty. 1st and 10 at the 46-yard line. Jordan De La Rosa, flushed from the pocket. Going deep, has a man, complete to the 28-yard line. Now KO.
And De La Rosa was able to buy himself time. He was able to run to his right, made a nice pass. Receiver was open, and he bought himself time. Good scrambling ability, and when he can move to his right, he's much more effective.
And that's the difference, because the effective Mendota blitzing has been coming from the opposite side, forcing into his weak side, where he's not as accurate. But in this case, he was able to get his feet planted, get off a very good, strong, and accurate throw, and they're 1st and 10 at the 28-yard line. De La Rosa overthrows his man in the end zone.
Well, they don't have to go through it all at once, Dan. They don't have to go for the 7. I mean, get yourself 8, 10, 14 yards, and I think Mendota's playing kind of soft right now. I think this could happen.
Yeah, their pressure has backed off considerably in this second half.
And you get a little bit desperate right now. You're inside the 30-yard line, and, hey, you know you need points, and sometimes you push a little bit too hard. You need to take what they give you at this stage.
Oh, here comes the blitz. Screen, though, is set up. Inside the 20, ball comes loose, but I believe the ball carrier was down. Howard Maxwell III on that one.
Boy, we have two men shook up here. Maxwell looks like he's down. And we still have an Aztec down. That's Segura.
Maybe we can take another look at that play and see just what happened. They very effectively got that screen going for Maxwell.
Well, Segura made the tackle, and
that looked like a helmet to knee hit.
Yeah, helmet to knee hit. And he's still down.
Maxwell up and off on his way to the sideline. Segura down, being tended to by the Mendota High medical staff.
And that's going to give the Rough Riders another first down inside the 20. They're at the 18-yard line with 8.5 minutes left. Plenty of time.
Well, that's one of the real effective ways to diffuse the blitz, is to be able to be patient, pull the blitz to you, and then throw over it to a well-set-up screen, as Roosevelt was able to do there, and Maxwell picked up some very good yardage. And it's a 1st and 10 at the 17-yard line. Riders trying to erase a 12-point deficit. Mendota sitting on top with 8:24 to play. Pressure coming. De La Rosa underthrows his man.
And he just misfired on that one. You know, he had a man open. He had time. Just a misfire. We have these little glitches.
Maxwell back into the ball game after being tended to.
Yeah, he took a good hit and came down on his head and shoulder.
Rough Riders trying to go to 3-0 tonight. Impressive wins in their first two. Haven't been undefeated at this stage of the season since 1999. De La Rosa into the end zone, has a man, touchdown!
And he had to come back to catch that, but he followed it the whole way.
Neokeo pulling that one in. And Roosevelt High is on the board with 8:14 to play in the ball game. Riders with their first touchdown of the night.
And they went all that way, Dan, in less than a minute of action, 70 yards.
Receiver came back on it, very well timed.
The kick was blocked.
Extra point is blocked. So our score with 8 minutes and 14 seconds left in the ball game. Mendota High 12, Roosevelt High 6.
Didn't give the kicker a good opportunity on that. The snap was well high. The holder did a good job getting it down, but you can't have that. You have to have precision. And it was missing.
Well, if you're Mendota, you want to run down the clock. You want to get a good long drive here. If you can score, you might be able to put this one away, especially if you can run 5-6 minutes off that clock in the process. 8:14 to play. 12-6 our score. Mendota High on top as the Aztecs in search of their first win of the season. You look at the extra point attempt.
Somebody lost a helmet there on the Rough Rider line.
Yeah, look like the defender just got a hand up there and shoved it right off.
And what I think may have happened too, Mendota, the way they dominated the action, the end of the first quarter, all of the second quarter, I think they may have got a little bit complacent. And once you've lost that, it's really tough to get it back.
Indeed, indeed.
Roosevelt's able, they showed how quick they can move. They went 69 yards in less than a minute of clock. So that's a quick strike team.
Kickoff going deep. And this is Christian Muratala, who mishandles the football, and it rolls back to the 2-yard line. Muratala trying to make something out of nothing. Gets up to the... Oh, he's across the 10 now to the 12. Wow.
Muratala got 7 yards all on his own with Rough Riders draped all over him.
That is one tough running back. It's Christian Muratala, who came in the second leading rusher for the Aztecs on the season with 134 yards in their first two games, as he drags a bevy of tacklers to the 12-yard line where it'll be 1st and 10.
Dan, if Segura does not come back in, he's the one of the studs of Mendota's defensive backfield. Offensively, they still have a couple of weapons. They really need him on defense.
Big hole. Pick up a 5.
And the Rough Rider defense now, they're going to have to man up. Mendota got a good surge off the line on that. Roosevelt's got to tighten that up.
Jose Ochoa with the carry. In the backfield in place of Eric Segura, who went off after that big collision with Howard Maxwell III on the Roosevelt drive. Isaiah Clark up under center. Give goes to Christian Muratala off right tackle. And he's got a first down. And that's exactly what Mendota needs to do right now. Keep the clock running and keep the chains moving.
Yeah, and give themselves a little bit of breathing room.
You see the give and a terrific block giving him some yardage as he's able to get across the first down line, and it's now 1st and 10 at the 24-yard line. They're going right back to Muratalo once again, and he picks up 2.
Yeah, the old Big Ten style of football a long time ago.
Your man Woody Hayes.
Yeah. And that thought dominated the Big Ten for so long. It was Hayes and then Schembechler at Michigan, and everybody tried to copy them. And nobody was.
Doherty at Michigan State for a time.
Yep.
2nd down and 8. 6:07 to play. 4th quarter. Mendota on top 12-6. Muratalo picks up 2 more. That'll bring up a 3rd and 5.
Big play for both these teams, Dan.
Ball sits on the 29-yard line.
Yeah, they didn't get a very good spot on that one.
No, they didn't. This is a crucial play right here. 3rd down and 6, 3rd down and 5 yards to go for Mendota. And the Aztecs desperately need a 1st down to keep the clock moving. They want to keep these chains moving and make time their 12th man as they attempt to hold on to the 6-point lead. 12-6 Aztecs.
And Segura's back in for Mendota, and they just burned their 2nd time out of the half.
So the Riders come to the near side to talk to Marlon Jackson. Aztecs go to the far side to get around Bento Mejia. Down behind the Riders bench, Jordan De La Rosa walking with his head coach, Adnaf Harris, having a conversation, no doubt, about what they will do if and when they get the football back.
Well, they really had to be fired up by that last drive.
5:14 to play. If Roosevelt gets the ball back, it is for the win.
Yeah, Mendota, if they get behind, they don't have that quick strike offense. But you can't ever tell. You know, that game, you were, I think, at the game when Sanger beat Edison on, it wasn't even a Hail Mary play, and the game was over. Sanger had won, and then you had 2 cataclysmic events. Cataclysmic if you're Edison, fumbling the ball into the end zone, and a team that can't pass gets a 90-yard touchdown when 2 guys collide.
3rd and 5 at the 29. Crucial stop, crucial offensive play. 1st down for the Aztecs. It keeps the clock moving, and it moves the chains once again.
The Aztecs should be able to run a couple of more minutes off the clock now. Roosevelt had that opportunity for a big stop, and it didn't happen.
Their players are pointing at the clock, asking why it stopped, and now the official waves the arm to get the clock moving once again. We're at 5 minutes and counting in the 4th quarter. Mendota High on top 12-6, seeking their 1st win of the season. Roosevelt battling to avoid being defeated for the first time this season. Isaiah Clark up under center for Mendota. Gives straight ahead to Hernandez. Legs churning. Picks up 7 yards.
You pointed out, Nick, that the coaches were yelling when that clock would stop, because as soon as the chains are placed, the clock's supposed to go, and nothing gets coaches to want that clock winding down, and they are all over it. I mean, 3 or 4 seconds here and there coming down to the end of a close game. We know what happens.
2nd down and 3 at the 43-yard line. Aztecs coming to the line of scrimmage. Coming to the near side, a little bit of a stiff arm, 1st down, and that's Eric Segura ridden down near the Roosevelt bench.
Roosevelt got a little bit of a break there. The official, okay, I guess they were going to wind it as soon as they moved the chains. He had stopped the clock, I guess, to move the chains. We'll see if they get it going again.
Aztecs picking up their third first down of this drive, and every yard they pick up makes Roosevelt High cringe a little more as we're at 3:42 and counting in the game.
Well, the Rough Riders have saved their timeouts, and they're going to be in a position soon. They're going to have to start using them.
They've got all three. Aztecs have run the ball so well throughout this game. A little bit of a delayed handoff. This is Christian Muratalla. Muratalla across the 45-yard line.
Again, there was an attempted arm tackle right at the line of scrimmage. Muratalla ran through it and got himself about 6 yards.
Riders are going to use the first of those three remaining timeouts here with 3 minutes and 9 seconds left in the game. There, the delayed handoff is Muratalla. Boy, he found a huge hole and was able to cut back. He is so good at finding a little gap and turning it into something big.
And Roosevelt had contact right at the line of scrimmage. They couldn't bring him down. And now, you have to burn a timeout in the 2nd and 4.
Riders gathered around their coaches, talking strategy here. Aztecs on the far side gathered around Beto Mejia as they're, I'm sure, being told, just keep doing what you're doing. 3:09 on the clock.
Yeah, hold on to the football and just bash ahead. I'm surprised that we haven't seen a little bit more of that option out of Mendota that was successful in the first half. Clark showed himself to be a pretty adept ball handler before he fumbled twice.
Which was what made the fumbles in the early going of the third quarter also surprising. Muratalla hustles off the field.
Mendota just gave back 5 of those 7 yards.
And it looked as though...
Or 6.
Looked as though they were trying to get a quick timeout in, which would have been their last. But I think one of the guys in the backfield alertly realized what was happening and tried to stop the play from beginning.
And that whole left side of the line moved. So that makes Roosevelt's timeout look a lot better now.
2nd down and 9 at the 48-yard line for Mendota.
And he does it again. Same man. Went the whole game without any of that.
That'll bring 2nd and 14.
I would not want to be within earshot of Coach Mejia after that second one.
Well, the guy's coming out.
Yeah.
Christian Martinez is coming out for a play at least. 2nd and 14 from the 47-yard line. Segura. There he goes. Close to the first down marker.
He's going to have first down yardage, and he wisely went to the ground instead of running out of bounds.
4 first downs on this drive now for Mendota. As we're inside of 3 minutes, the clock stops at 2:57. Aztecs nursing a 12-6 lead. The clock starts once again.
Just brutal on the part of Roosevelt. I mean, they had a good situation. 15 or 14 yards to go and all erased in one run.
1st and 10 at the 37-yard line. The Riders 37. Muratalla picks up 3. A couple of Riders feverishly trying to strip the football away from Muratalla. Unsuccessful.
The Rough Riders are going to burn their 2nd timeout.
2:24 left on the clock. And this one is getting away from Roosevelt. They desperately need to stop.
Second, we have about 9 yards to go. We're going to be able to see this again, seeing the desperation trying to strip the ball.
And the defenders were able to stand Muratella up, and that's when a couple of defensive backs came in and frantically tried to strip that ball away from him, but it was unsuccessful.
Got to try.
Riders back out onto the field. Aztecs jog back up to the line of scrimmage from their sideline. Second and 9. Muratella cuts back, picks up 5.
Muratella's got that good football quickness. He was able to seemingly slow down and wait for his blockers and quick acceleration.
Closing in on 2 minutes. And we're inside of 2 minutes in this game.
In this play, if the Rough Riders cannot stop them on this play, the game's going to be about over.
3rd and 5 from the 32-yard line. And the Rough Riders call their final timeout. This play is your ball game. 3rd and 5 with 1:41 to go. Ball's at the 32-yard line.
Several scenarios, Dan. Mendota gets 2 or 3 yards on this, makes it 4th and short. They can still run the clock down to, a minute or less. And Roosevelt's got to make the stop now. As Mendota's definitely not going to be punting the ball away or trying a field goal. They're going to run 2 plays.
Most important defensive play of the night for the Roosevelt High Rough Riders. Trying to maintain an undefeated record here in week 3 of their season. Riders trailing 12-6. They came in averaging 5 touchdowns a game. Conversely, Mendota had difficulty getting their offense in gear through their first 2 games of the season, but tonight their ground game has been unstoppable. Isaiah Clark up under center, 3 backs behind him, 3rd and 6. Give goes to Segura, and he's got the first down. Eric Segura going off right tackle to the 26-yard line. Plenty of yardage for a first down, the 5th of this drive.
Like he was coming to this side, looked like Roosevelt was going over to Stack to try to stop him, and Segura sliced through. Boy, Segura, when he went out, when he was momentarily shook up, he's come back with a vengeance on offense.
Clock at 1:28 here in the 4th quarter. Mendota on top 12-6 and marching at the 26-yard line.
And they're just bleeding the clock down now.
Isaiah Clark takes a knee. And he can do that 4 times now, and this game is done.
Yeah, they'll let it run down to about 35 seconds and have one more kneel down. Well,
so the Aztecs, who gave up 48 in their opener in a loss to Oristimba, 41 last week in a loss to Liberty. Tonight, their defense holds Roosevelt to 6. The Riders came in averaging 5 touchdowns, and that is going to do it as the Aztecs hustle over to their bench in jubilation, celebrating with their coaches. Roosevelt High's players line up at the 50 in the postgame handshake line as this one is in the books. The Mendota High School Aztecs with their first win of the season, defeating the Roosevelt Rough Riders by a final score here in Sunnyside Stadium of 12-6. Roosevelt dealt their first defeat of the season after an impressive 2-win start. And what a ground game we saw tonight, Fred Clark, out of the Mendota High Aztecs.
Yeah, Dan, this is not what either one of us thought coming in. Because Mendota has toughness and character, I figured they were going to come in. They weren't just going to mail the game away. But I did not see this coming. I figured the Rough Riders with better athletes, more speed, would win this football game by a couple of touchdowns. I'm not saying I'm not disappointed. It was a good, hard-fought football game, and I love seeing a good ground game.
This was a terrific game, and to see the option, not many schools utilize the option anymore. It's something I've always enjoyed. I think it's going to be an equalizer when used well, and I think it was used very, very well tonight. Beto Mejia and his staff to be complimented on their effort. A terrific job tonight as they came out with a strategy. Roosevelt countered. Mendota adjusted back, and it was a bit of a chess game between these coaching staffs.
And this has to be a bitter pill for Coach Harris and his staff, because this team was riding high. And, you know, you beat Chowchilla at home, avenging that terrible defeat to open his coaching career, and then go up and beat Doss Palace. Not an easy place to win. And they had everything going for them, and they had the momentum, and I think they were thinking they were going to go into that Selma game with a lot of momentum, maybe going in there 4-0 and having a chance to really make a statement. Now it's back to the drawing board.
Well, we saw good things, and this has got to boost the confidence of Mendota High as they go forth into the season and into league play.
Well, Mendota has Emmanuel next week. I like their chances in that, and this season might not be so bad after all.
Not at all. 12-6 our final score. Mendota hands Roosevelt their first defeat of the season. We'll be back after this to wrap this one up.
This is how you say, it's going to be okay, to someone who just lost everything. That yes, we'll find you somewhere to stay. And yes, your children will have breakfast. Every 8 minutes, the Red Cross responds to a disaster and makes this promise. Help us keep it.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
Welcome back here to Sunnyside Stadium. I'm Dan Taylor along with the coach Fred Clark, and we saw a dandy tonight. Not the high-scoring affair of last week, not the type of high-scoring game these two teams have been involved in weeks 1 and 2, but a real chess match and some terrific strategy won out.
Well, and some grinding football, and I like that. I'll take a 12-6 game anytime.
Let's take a look at some of the second half action as Mendota sat on top 12-0 at the intermission and came right back and looked like they were going to get a second half drive started and really put this game away. Penalties and some miscues. They fumbled in their first 2 possessions of the second half, as we'll take a look at some highlights here momentarily. But as things got going, Roosevelt started to chip away, and Mendota in the second half didn't have that same intensity and they didn't have that same fire.
Yeah, I think when they had that lead at halftime, they've been pretty successful against Roosevelt the last few years. I think they figured they were just going to go out and crush Roosevelt, and Roosevelt did adjust pretty well at halftime, and Mendota wasn't near as successful. But as you said, the intensity level wasn't quite there that it was in the first half and in the last 8 minutes of the game. When the Aztecs got the ball back, 8 minutes left, they just grinded the clock out. You don't see that in high school. We saw it twice tonight. 2 long, long drives.
One of the things we saw them do effectively in the first half was blitz. They had Jordan De La Rosa on the run, mostly to his weak side, where he really had trouble getting off accurate passes. We didn't see as much of that in the second half.
No, and as we see right here, De La Rosa, he was much more on the ball, or on the beam the second half. His passes were a lot more crisp, but he had time and he was able to roll to his right. There we go. That was a play for big first down yardage for the Rough Riders. I think the touchdown will be the next play. This is the hard collision that temporarily had 2 guys down.
But make no mistake, a little bit of a tough one tonight for the Rough Riders, but this is a team that is going to make some noise in this season going forward.
And I think so too. And the NYL, let's face it, the NYL is not a strong league at all. And I have Sunnyside being the big favorite, but I can see if Roosevelt puts it together, they could threaten Sunnyside. So their season's not over by a long shot. It's up to Coach Harris to get these guys, fired up again and say, this is a momentary glitch. We can come back from it.
Well, there you see is Mendota was able to just run down the clock, an 8-minute plus drive. Very impressive there in the fourth quarter to wrap this thing up and make the clock and the change their 12th man as Mendota High Aztecs triumph by a final score tonight of 12-6 over the Roosevelt High Rough Riders. Mendota's first win of the season, and they deal Roosevelt their first defeat of the season. Next week, next Friday night, we hope you'll be with us because we will be right back here in Sunnyside Stadium. And our matchup next week, the High's Wildcats.
Well, that should be a high-scoring game in Clovis East. A new coach in Ryan Reynolds, and he has reinstituted that double wing offense, and there's going to be a lot of ground play from the Timberwolves. Sunnyside likes to lighten it up, so we're going to have a real contrast of styles.
So be sure to be with us next Friday night for more CMAC sports as we've got Clovis East and Sunnyside from right here at Sunnyside Stadium. Wrapping it up tonight, there you see on your screen our final score. Glad you were with us here from Sunnyside Stadium. For everybody at CMAC Sports and for the coach Fred Clark, I'm Dan Taylor. Thanks for being with us and watching tonight as Mendota High wins their first of the season, beating Roosevelt by a final score of 12-6. Good night, everybody.